Hello, everyone. My name is Mark Kageyama, and I'd like to welcome everyone here to Be Your Own Hero. I'm a stage 4 prostate, bone, and lung cancer patient slash survivor. Been dealing with cancer since late 2020, early 2021. Doing very well. Enjoying the now summer-like weather here in Texas. And I'm going to be talking to my great guest, Mr. Chris Joseph, who happens to be in a lot cooler place than me, in up in Oregon, but I don't know how the weather is today. But we've got some great things to talk about. So this is part two of our interview. And so what I'd like to do at this point in time, oh, let me give you a quick commercial. Please like, subscribe, make a comment in the comment section of the video, and this will help the channel grow. And I'd like to hand it over and introduce my guest, Chris Joseph. Chris, the floor is yours.
Hey, Mark, thanks for having me back again. Yeah, we should talk about cancer. How about that? We can talk about cancer. So, you and I were talking a little bit offline before you hit record about you were asking me some of the most effective things that I did. And the truth is, and by the way, let me back up. So, the number one question I get asked, the number one question I get asked is, tell me what you did. Tell me what you did. And I think, and I get it, people are looking for simple answers. They're looking for quick fixes. They come in when they talk to me, when they talk to you, scared, just like I was scared when I got diagnosed. All totally natural, normal. But the truth is, it's really a tough question to answer for two reasons. When people say, "Tell me what you did," it's tough to answer for two reasons. The first reason is that I did so many
Let me
things.
let me interrupt you there. I think a better question for both you and I is what didn't we do?
What didn't we do right? Yeah, I mean, there turns out there's a lot of things I didn't do,
Right, right.
but because I learn about stuff every day. I'll tell you, for example, I never did repurposed drugs like ivermectin and fenben and all that. I think those can really help, and I've certainly talked to many people where those drugs have had great success, but that wasn't part of my journey. So yeah, so it's two problems with answering the question. One is I did so many things that to this day, I don't really know exactly what worked. I know with 100% certainty what didn't work, and that was chemotherapy. And they did chemo on me for 2 months. I think we talked about this last time, and it wasn't working. They upped the chemo, it still wasn't working. And it wasn't just me imagining it wasn't working. They were doing scans, and the tumors were growing. So yeah, that's an easier question. If someone were asking what didn't work, I can say chemo. Um,
Mhm.
I want to be clear that chemo has helped some people, and so I don't preach, don't do chemo or anything like that. Just didn't help me. But the second reason it's hard to answer that question is because everyone's journey is different. Everyone's cancer is different. People come at this in different conditions. Maybe they have other illnesses that they're dealing with. They come with their own stresses, their own toxic exposures, how they eat, how they work out or don't work out. Everyone is different. Everyone, and there's no one size fits all to this journey. Um, Unlike in the Western medicine world, again, I'm not criticizing. This is just factual. In the Western medicine world, they will give you chemo, radiation, or surgery. Now, obviously, in the chemo world, there's different chemicals and different cocktails and all that. But generally, it's one of those three things. Now they're adding immunotherapies, but they treat people more like one size fits all.
Mhm.
As opposed to the non-Western world. Yeah. So that's a long answer to your question. I don't even remember what your question was.
I think what we want to stress here is number one, we're not doctors. We're just sharing what has worked for us as individuals. And Chris stated it so well in the fact that everybody is different, everybody reacts differently, and no, you know. everybody's cancer is could be different, but we're also physiologically different as people. So even though we may have had, and we didn't, but we may have had the same cancer, where we are as far as our physical well-being, health-wise, if we're in shape, what our diet is, and all these things all add up to the whole totality of the situation. So, why don't you continue on? And so that, yeah, because I'm excited to hear this myself.
So I sent you a list of all the things that I did. That's all the things I remember doing. There's probably 30 or 40 things on that list. And I wrote them down for two reasons. One, so I could answer the question when people would ask me, what did you do? And now I just send them this list. There's no possible way I can remember all these things in a conversation. I wrote it down because for that reason, I wrote it down because I'm writing another book, um, tentatively titled The Kitchen Sink Approach to Cancer. And the reason that title came about is in the course of doing cancer coaching, I get a lot of calls from people with pancreatic cancer because that's what I had. And people, and there's no criticism, I totally get it. Some people who call me are desperate. They're maybe their spouses are fourth stage, they're not doing well. And so a few years ago, this is probably 4 years ago or so, I had a woman call me. Her husband was not doing well. And she kept asking me, tell me what you did, tell me what you did. And I was getting a little frustrated, not with her. I totally got why she was asking me the question, but I was getting frustrated at my inability to answer the question. And finally, I said to her, it's hard to answer, but I will tell you, I threw the kitchen sink at my cancer. And that became like the working title of a book that I'm working on, The Kitchen Sink Approach to Cancer, because I literally did so many things. I mean, off the top of my head, acupuncture, chiropractic, vitamin infusion, stem cell therapy, hyperthermia, vitamin infusion, supplements. The joke I make is more supplements on a yearly basis that would fill up a yacht owned by Jeff Bezos. I mean, I took countless supplements. Um, yeah, again, I'm forgetting. Oh, I did psilocybin journeys, mushroom, CBD, THC. Um, I did things. I was in heavy duty psychotherapy, which really, really helped, by the way. I mean, if you want to know, that definitely helped. I started moving my body more. Now, I mean, it's hot here in Portland today, but normally I try and get 10,000 steps in every day, 4.5 to
What
five
is your
miles.
definition of hot over there?
Well, it's dry heat here. It's like 100 degrees here today,
Oh,
but
really?
yeah, it's a
Wow,
freak. It's
that
a
is hot.
freaky. Yeah. But tomorrow it'll be back in the 70s, normal. Um, but moving the body, I do that. I mean, I watch what I eat. I've become religious about what I eat. And I can't remember if we went over this last time, but I'm happy to talk about some of
We
the
didn't.
principles.
We didn't.
So I will, let me back up. When I got diagnosed, I sought out some nutritionists and they all gave me different advice. Oh, you got to be vegan. No, you got to do keto, which means a lot of meat. Do pescatarian, do vegetarian. You got to eat organic. I mean, it was maddening. It was so contradictory, and I was very frustrated by it all. And but after I started soothing myself and calming down, I realized, okay, there's certain common things that they're saying here. And so I tried to figure out what they were all saying in common. And what I took away from that is organic when possible, ditch the processed foods, ditch the ultra processed foods, read labels religiously. If they have chemicals on there that you don't know how to pronounce or you don't know what they are, or if you know they're chemicals, do not eat it. I generally don't eat packaged foods anyway because they're all processed. Um, there's a big debate about keto or not keto. I think keto can help in certain cancers and certain situations, but I never did it. In my ninth year, almost 9 years now. But what I did do, and I think is extremely important for most people, is to be low carb. Um, There's study after study that show that carbs both can cause cancer and also feed cancer. A lot of people don't know. I didn't know that carbs turn into sugar in your body. Um, so it's like eating sugar when you have pasta. Again, all of the stuff I've learned in the last few years, I think back in 200 years ago, I'm not going to get this exactly right, but in terms of magnitude, it's right. 150, 200 years ago, average sugar intake for Americans was like 2 pounds a year. And now it's 150 pounds per year. I mean, we have just become carb and sugar alcoholics or whatever the right term is, and it's killing us. Um, and so eating properly is really, really important. And it's hard, especially when you get a diagnosis. Maybe you don't have an appetite, maybe you're doing chemo, which can kill your appetite. Um, I'm not saying any of these things are easy. They're not easy. I mean, you've been through this, you know, this is a lot of work. It's a lot of work. But I look
Let me
at
pause you right there.
uh,
That's a an interesting statement that you just made. It's a lot of work, but what is the lot of work for? That's the bottom line. The bottom line is you're aiming, or you should be aiming, to save your life. And so it shouldn't be considered work. It should be considered steps to make you better. And,
yeah, I
you
like
know,
that.
yeah, and to
Yes,
get,
yeah. I'm probably I like how you said it much better, to be honest. I'm probably a little too blunt with people when I work with them because I really want them to know that this is not a passive approach. Getting chemo and radiation and surgery or immunotherapy, that is a passive approach if you're not doing anything else. But I also think it's all the treatment model. It has nothing to do with root causes. And you have to remind me if we talked about that last time. I can't remember, but did I tell you the mold analogy?
no, you didn't.
Oh, okay. So I know I'm jumping around here, but so when people have mold or they suspect they have mold, you call out a remediator. They come out, they test to make sure it's not too toxic, that you don't have to vacate the property. But either way, they after they test it, they clean it up and then they fix the source of the problem. And the source of the problem, as we know with mold in a basement or in a house, is leaky faucets or rainwater getting in or some combination of both, stagnant water and then molds over time. But they fix the source of the problem. They fix those leaky pipes. They fix the areas where the rainwater is getting in. And the important point of what I'm trying to make here is Western medicine either forgets that last part about fixing the source of the problem or doesn't care about that last part about fixing the source of the problem. They are decent sometimes at the cleanup part with radiation and surgery and chemotherapy and immunotherapy, but they do nothing for the fixing the source of the problem. Zero, nothing. You're lucky if a doctor gets to talk to you, will talk to you about your lifestyle and your how you're eating. Most doctors will tell you, because I hear this constantly, most doctors tell patients eat whatever you want, which couldn't be further from the truth and couldn't be more wrong. I mean, think about
And let me
hospitals.
pause you right there. That's a
Uh,
great point because what that kind of statement does is it just creates confusion with the patient. Because now all of a sudden, the person that they look up to, that they revere, their doctor, is telling them, all that stuff doesn't matter. But people like us, we're saying it makes all the difference in the world.
oh, am I allowed to cuss on this podcast?
Well, prefer not, but
All right. I'm going to say there a doctor who says that food isn't important is full of caca. How's that? I'll use
yeah,
caca.
perfect.
Um, they're wrong. The plain and simple, they're wrong if they say that. Excuse me. Think about how notoriously unhealthy hospital food is.
Mm, absolutely.
It's a well-earned reputation for being for serving unhealthy food, processed foods, food that's in containers that probably has been sitting for days, right? I mean, who knows? And
You,
then the
you know what?
lot,
That's a great point. But what I learned when I was in the hospital for a week, I was what I was doing was I was sending back the majority of my meals. And so finally the head chef came into my room personally and said, "Why do you keep sending all this food back?" Because I said, "I don't eat that stuff." And they said, "What do you eat?" And I said, "Man, I love a fresh salad." And, and I was naming all these things that I would eat. They said, "Okay, no problem. That's done." So if you take the step of actually asking, the person in charge, if you could have, things that you would prefer, it could be done, which I was shocked. I had never heard that before, you know?
I had never heard of that either, so I
Yeah,
appreciate you bringing that up. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I mean,
The truth is, I hope I don't have to find that out
yeah,
by being hospitalized again, but that is good information to know.
yeah.
Um, so what rant was I on? I was on talking about how Western medicine doesn't deal with root causes at all. I know what I was going to say. From my own experience and also now working with people and talking with people like you, I mean, I've talked to hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people. I've worked with many. I've read about many. The people who go above and beyond Western medicine, not necessarily instead of, although I know some people who've done that too, but the people who go above and beyond Western medicine are the ones who I think dramatically increase their odds of not just surviving, but thriving. And I think ultimately that's the goal, um, is to thrive.
Mhm.
I, I hear other people talking about it. I don't know how you characterize it, um, and no judgment attached. I don't use the word survivor. It's not good enough. I think that surviving to me implies what Western medicine tries to do, which is extend lives a few months through their drugs. And great if they can do that, but that's not good enough. The bar has to be set higher. Thriving is the goal. Um, the people I work with, I don't want them just to shoot for surviving. I mean, maybe that's the first step, but once they've achieved that, then let's go for more. Um, Another point that I want to make is oftentimes there are reoccurrences with cancer, and most cancers, as we know, like 90% are not hereditary. 90%. Their lifestyle, environmental, toxins, stress, traumas. I mean, food we eat, food we don't eat. And so that's an opportunity. I think we did talk about this last time. That's an opportunity to change your life. And so I'm going to go back to what you said a few minutes ago, that it's not work, it's getting healthy,
Mhm.
getting healthy.
And it's just what have you found? And one question that I ask a lot of people that I meet and I have questions about, I ask them, how bad do you want to live? And to a person, everybody says, I want to live in the worst way. I mean, across the board, everybody says that. And I expect it at this point. But what fascinates me is what I see afterwards. What is that person willing to do in order to live? And as you talked about, not just survive. What's the point of, being laid up in your bed? That is surviving, but that's not living. What are your thoughts on what you see with your the people that you deal with? what would you say would be the percentage of people that are ultra serious about saving their life?
In terms of taking actions necessary to do that, or just saying that.
No, taking the action necessary to do that.
So again, with no judgment attached, I think it's a small minority. Um, I think that, I
If
mean,
you were to give a number, what would you give?
like a
And
percentage,
yeah, and I'll give you my thought on it.
maybe under 20%. Um, I mean, it's small. Well, tell me about what number you'd come up with.
I'd say less than five.
Maybe I'm being generous. Maybe I'm scared to say the truth. I mean, I want to think about that question more, and I can text you offline. But it's small. We agree on that. I certainly meet a lot of people who say it. Um, I have met people who and people are on their own journeys. I have to respect that. But I've met people who have given up and have wound up passing. Um, I think that sometimes people get in their head, and this happened to me too. Oh, I've got cancer. I've got a deadly form of cancer. I'm going to die. So I get it. I get it. I mean, it took me a long time to turn that thought process around, and
How
it's
did
not
you do
completely
that?
gone.
How did you do that?
Uh,
Yeah.
Once I quit chemo before I went to Germany, I quit chemo in March of 2017. I went to Germany for some treatment in April of 2017, April and May. I was still suffering, my body was still suffering the effects of being on chemo. So I wasn't in great shape even when I started after I quit. But it was slow. It was over time. I would say it took about a year and a half, 2 years, um, to where I thought, oh, I can do this. I can do this. I'm okay. I mean, I want to be clear though that the thought process of having cancer return that never completely goes away. Never. I mean, it diminishes tremendously. I don't know what your experience is, but um, I mean, I don't think about cancer nearly as much as I used to, which is good. But it's not like it's completely gone. The fear still rises every once in a while. Um, and I think that's normal. I've never met anyone who's gone through a journey like this who says otherwise. I think it's just normal. I think, our bodies are traumatized by it. And so when something happens, I can't remember if I told this story. Yeah, almost 3 years ago, I had a really nasty cough and it lasted for a couple of weeks. And they tested me for COVID. Nope. Tested me for the flu. Nope. Didn't have that. I started thinking, oh shit, I've got cancer or I've got cancer again. And finally they figured out it was bronchitis. And I was fine. It lasted a long time. It lasted about a month or so. But for that first 2 weeks before I knew what it was, I was like, my head was spinning again, even though I'd
Hmm.
been doing well for years.
Hmm.
And so the thought process never completely goes away. Now it's more like, oh yeah, okay, here it comes. And I just have to like be mindful of it. It'll go away. It might take a day, it might take a week, it'll go away. Um, so we've talked a little bit about, some of
Well,
the things that
well,
people,
well, let's talk a little bit more about that same
okay.
subject. Um, Me personally, number one, I know this for a fact. I never, ever, ever want to go through cancer treatments again. That is I never want to do that. That is inhumane. It is just it's just terrible. I mean, it is just really bad. Just the testing and all that kind of stuff is just it's just awful. So I don't ever want to go through that again. Am I worried about that? No, no, I'm not, because what I'm focusing on is living for today, and I'm focusing on the good things that I have. And so like you, I talk to people every day and they're just paralyzed in fear on a daily basis. Oh, it's going to come back. But our minds are such that if we're telling ourselves the cancer is going to come back, the body's going to, at some point, it's going to listen to you and it's going to come back. So I don't ever feed myself those kind of questions or things to worry about. I'm inputting all the time as many positive thoughts as I can because um, and I talk because I see and you see, I talk to people every single day, and I see the emotional turmoil, and I don't want to be involved with emotional turmoil within myself. And so I am grateful, I am thankful for each and every day, and I just try to make I have today. I woke up today. I have today. I am going to make the absolute most of today.
Hmm.
And that's all I can
Oh, that's great.
control at the moment. So, um,
So I want to ask you when we talked about, I said 20%, you said maybe 5%. Why do you
uh-huh.
think that number's so low?
That's just what I've experienced.
No,
I mean,
I get that we both agree that it's low. I'm just curious why are so few willing to do the
great
work?
question. Um, I don't know. It's just so puzzling to me. It's I am just absolutely baffled why people don't value their life more than they generally do. Some people do, but most, I think we live in such a society that, we live in a microwave society and everything, a lot of things that we do are designed for uh, increasing speed and not wasting time. And they expect things to happen immediately. And they're not willing to put the work in to make those things happen. Because let's face it, the things that we do take a lot of effort, you know. And for myself, it's not an effort anymore because it's become a habit. And, because I'm doing it religiously every single day and I live it and I believe in what I'm doing on a daily basis. So that's what my thoughts are. I mean, because I get excuses after excuses, like, gosh, what you do is hard. Yeah, living is, in order to live, it's not going to be easy, and how much do you value your own life? That's what the bottom line is
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
yeah, and that's the whole crazy thing about it is I hear the excuses come out, when they start hearing about everything that I did. That's really hard, that takes a lot of effort and that takes a lot of time. And a common thing that people ask me is, "Hey, uh, do I get a cheat day with all of this?" And it was crazy to me. I said, "Why would you want to cheat yourself and your life just for, immediate satisfaction of something?"
No, it's spot on. I think also that we are all taught at a young age, because it's been drummed into us for decades and decades and decades, that doctors know best. We'll give you a drug and we'll make you better. That's the goal. We're not taught that we have agency, that we have a choice in all this. And so I think some people just fall into that, like, well, I'd rather go to my doctor because they're a doctor. Is there a doctor? But you and I know doctors are not trained on nutrition. I mean, what do they get at most? Like a week out of their years and years of training.
I keep hearing
Yeah,
an hour.
maybe it's less. It's very little. They're not looking at mind body connections. They're not looking at root causes at all. at all. They're just not even there. It's not even on their radar.
Hmm.
And so I think we should trust doctors to do what they're good at, which is symptom management. They are good at that, or they can be good at that. And bring in other experts or rely on my intuition or rely on my own learning for the other parts of it to actually heal and to get better. Um, they're not really going to help you with that.
That's right. It's all about knowledge and education. And there's a lot to learn. I learn every single day, you
Me
know.
too, all the time, all the
Yeah,
time.
because things are changing, things are evolving, and different things come about, and so it's good to be invested in yourself, and that's the bottom line, is you want to educate yourself so that you could live more effectively.
I think one of the challenges overall is what I'll call, for lack of a better phrase right now, the alternative medicine world. It's not cheap, not covered by insurance. So people who do a lot of these things, it's going to be out of pocket. And that's not easy for a lot of people. And I get that. But for a lot of people, there are still things they can do that don't cost a lot of money. In some cases, don't cost any money, like walking. The number one exercise I recommend to people, walking. Just get
Mhm.
outside and walk. Fresh air, vitamin D, get your blood moving, get your heart rate up. All these things, it helps you with your mind, proven to help with your mood and all that. Proven. All this stuff's been proven. And walking is free. Get out and walk. Again, I know some people can't, or some people can only walk for 5 minutes or 10 minutes. So I'm not being callous, but walk to your limit. If it's 10,000 steps, great. If it's more, great. If it's 5 minutes, great. Whatever you can do. But some is better than none.
And consistently.
Big time. I hear people complain, and they're not wrong to complain that poor people can't afford healthy food. And I think there is some truth to that, and that needs to be rectified. And you and I aren't going to solve that problem today. But people still have choice in the matter. They don't have to pick up a Coca-Cola with 60 grams of sugar in it. They can drink water. Now, there's a whole other thing about whether the water is clean or not, but still, I'd rather have slightly dirty water than 60 grams of sugar in a Coca-Cola. Um, People can eat salads. People can, there's certain things that are not so expensive on the food area. So yeah. But some of it is expensive, and I think that's something that we all have to reckon with as we get more into this. That eating healthy and being healthy shouldn't be more expensive than eating yourself sick. That just doesn't make sense. Does not make sense.
What would you like to leave the audience with as a final thought?
I think, and this isn't being modest, and it's not being in any way. Um, I can't think of the right words right now. But the journeys that you have gone through, that I've gone through, you know countless people. I know countless people. Some of the people we know are the same, but so many people that have gone above and beyond Western medicine. I don't consider myself to be a special person whatsoever. I think you're a very good human from what I know. I'm sure you have your flaws like the rest of us,
Hey,
but
we're all human.
we're all human. But my point is that I feel like if I could do this, a whole lot of other people could do this. I really think that this is not, I mean, I'm not terribly religious, but this is not God granted me. Oh yeah, Chris, you're going to be able to do this, and very few people will. We can choose to do this. We can choose to do this. One postscript to that: it does not mean that every story is a success story. I have known people who have tried the alternative stuff and didn't make it. I'm guessing you know some too. Um,
Absolutely.
there are zero guarantees, but it's what I said earlier. I think it's about increasing your odds. Get healthy. If you're doing chemo, it's much better to be healthy and maybe be able to fast around chemo before, during, and after chemo to make the chemo maybe more effective. You want to get your body in much better shape no matter what you're doing, no matter what. So yeah, that's what I'd like to leave people with. Get healthy.
That is awesome. What great advice. It's very simple, but that's what we should all be striving for. We should all
Appreciate
be striving to be healthy and more conscious because we are essentially at war with our world. And, we're fighting a daily battle because there's just so many things in our world that we live in today that aren't conducive for the average human being. Um, but I mean, what a great answer. Thank you so much, Chris. And I'd like to thank each and every one of you out there for joining us here at To Be Your Own Hero. And I hope that each and every one of you that you took out some things from what we discussed today, because there are some really, really great points and great food for thought. And whether you have cancer or not, and we all are living in this world together. Let's all, work together to help make this world a better place and make the most out of each and every day. And if we make that little bit of extra effort to, smile at somebody or help open the door for somebody or help somebody who is not able to walk across the street, just little things and in some cases bigger things. But if we all work together to help make this world a better place, pretty soon that's what it takes is a little bit of effort from a lot of people. So I hope each and every one of you has an absolutely fantastic week, and we will see you next week on To Be Your Own Hero. Thank you very much.